Welcome to Ask a Puppy Trainer Show, episode 59. Wow, it's exciting. Oh, Bethany gets to come back for the big 60. Very nice. All right, guys, so feel free to submit some questions in the chat. It looks like I have about maybe 5 or 6 questions today. I talk a lot faster than Bethany, so I will get through those quick. So I can answer quite a few of the questions in the chat. So please feel free to. Again, you can also send in questions the week before, the week after, and send them through a DM through Instagram, or you can even email them, or you can even add them to our YouTube, whatever. We're going to get to as many as we can. All right, now I'm going to do my best to really slow it down. All right, this is from Matthew, and it's for our Create a Daily Puppy Schedule. So I think this is from our YouTube. It's from one of our blogs. Sorry, thank you, Ricky. All right, hello. This has been really useful read. We have a 14-week Dachshund who we've now had for 6 weeks. He's developed a habit of only taking daytime naps with us, yet at night he sleeps perfectly in his crate. In the day, he gets whiny if in his crate, which hasn't improved really despite 3 times a day crate training. Would be brilliant if you could signpost me to some useful resources. Thanks, Matt. I am your useful resource, apparently. I'm your signpost. Okay. Crating can be difficult. Some dogs have an affinity to take to it very quickly. Some dogs don't take to it very quickly at all. It sounds like your 14-week is probably not taking to it too easily, and you've already had him for 6 weeks. So usually the first 2 to 3 weeks of owning a dog, they're still kind of getting comfortable in the household. The weeks that follow, the months that follow, the years that follow, they become comfortable, and then you start getting the real habits of your dog. So one of the first things I always tell people is if I'm doing 3 times a day in the crate, I'm curious how long we're doing them for. If we're doing it for a 14-week-old that's a little over 3 months, they should only be doing about an hour to an hour and a half in the crate, but also a shorter amount of time out of the crate. If I have a puppy that's doing an hour and a half in the crate, I'll do 30 minutes of free time out of the crate. But I try to structure my free time to mentally stimulate and physically stimulate my dog. If I have a puppy that gets a lot of affection outside of the crate, when I put them back in the crate, they're not going to want to go in there because they're still super pumped up. They're excited, and they're saying, Dad, you just gave me love. What the heck are you doing putting me back in the crate? I don't get love in here. So we have to try to regulate that. I break my free time up into 3 separate parts, and that's going to be after I pull my dog out of the crate, I give him a chance to go potty. If I get a successful potty, that's when I do my free time window. Part 1 of free time for me is going to be walk and play, and some kind of constructive play. It's not going to be like where I chase my dog in the backyard for 20 minutes. That actually is a really great way of breaking down recall, because when you call a dog to you, if they're used to being chased, they're not going to want to come to you if they're used to being chased. So productive forms of play, tug of war with a drop and release. Fetch with them bringing it back on a long leash. What I mean by the tug of war and the drop is if you're playing tug and you have a really pushy dog, there's not too many instances where I'm going to let the toy go and then let them win. I'm going to focus more on getting the toy, locking my elbows into my ribs, waiting for my dog to drop and release the toy, put it behind my back, ask for a sit, good, and then release them and give the toy back. That's a productive form of play because you're winning and then they are winning for giving calm and patience. Fetch, the reason I put them on a leash is because when they take the toy and they bring it back, some dogs want to kind of play the game of like chase me after. That leash prevents more of an anchor to prevent them from running. So that's some really great productive forms of play. That gets a lot of that physical energy worked down, and some mental energy too of the drop and the release, the fetch and bring it back. But also you could even do a walk. For a 14-week-old, you're probably not walking outside yet. It's totally fine to grab some food, treats, kibble, whatever your dog likes to follow, put a leash on them, walk up and down your hallway. Anytime they go ahead, dog come, good, food, turn, walk the opposite way. You can do a backyard, you can do a front yard, you can do a walkway from the side of your house. Whatever you need to create that productive and stimulating movement work outside or inside your home. Part 2 of my free time window is going to be training. So that could even be kind of portioned into the first window I gave you guys. Training could be come, play, sit, down, stay. It's a mental exercise to help your puppy settle down. Physical exertion builds stamina. Mental stimulation tires out your dog. So at the end of that training window, that's when I do supervised separation. Supervised separation, I'd say, is probably one of the most important parts, besides training, obviously. But supervised separation means that you put them in an area that's their own, where they don't have access to you. That could be a playpen for a small dog like a Dachshund. It could be a back tie on a harness tied to something stationary that he can't chew and he's not pulling too often. And what that does is we don't look at them, we don't talk to them, we don't touch them when they're in that area, when they're in their own space. We're teaching them to exist on their own, build confidence, independence, self-sufficiency, to exist and not have access to you. That helps them calm, that helps them settle. If you're in that moment of them settling and they go to sleep, that is your moment now to pick them up and put them back in the crate. At the end of my free time window, that's also when I give a little bowl of water. And I think the general rule of thumb is for every 30 pounds of body weight, you do a half cup of water every 2 to 3 hours. I'll repeat that. Every 30 pounds of body weight, you do a half cup of water every 2 to 3 hours. That's like the scientific number. So if you're giving your puppy too much water, it can even make them more frustrated in the crate because they have to go potty, which is why they're barking to be let out. So the amount of water is very important too. The reason I say when they go to sleep in that playpen or at any part of my free time, I pick them up and put them in the crate is because I know a lot of dogs that will bark in the crate for hours. That's literally why we have Puppy Academy, because we have dogs that bark a lot and we're helping them work through the barking. What we teach them though is anytime they're out of the crate is mental and physical stimulation. Inside of the crate though is rest and sleep. So if my crate is downstairs in my living room, we work on a main street in the South Bay in Los Angeles called PCH, and putting my crate in my living room is like taking a sleeping bag out there and trying to take a nap on the side of PCH. Foot traffic, noise, sirens, police cars, all this crazy stimulation keeps me awake and prevents me from getting to REM sleep. It can be the same thing for your puppy as well. Try moving that crate to a quieter area. If I work in my living room, maybe I'm working from home, my office is in my living room, my crate is in the bedroom. If I go to sleep in the bedroom and I want my dog to be away from me, I'll buy 2 crates, one for the living room for night, one for the bedroom during the day. Or I'll just use that one crate in the bedroom for all of my crating needs. And what that does is it helps them rest and relax and fully settle. We want to teach dogs to sleep in the crate, not be awake and listen to every little sound. So when they go to sleep outside of the crate, that's when we put them in to help create that understanding of crate is sleep, outside the crate is mental and physical stimulation. Okay, that was a lot. Ricky, anything you can think of that I didn't mention?
No, that was great. And yes, TikTok, you can drop your questions in the comments.
Yep, we'll probably get to both. I'm trying to slow myself down. I mean, I actually finished at the proper time today. All right, from Jubuggy. 1 year, I hope I said that right. 1 year Aussie mix. She's afraid of a lot of stuff. Scooters, skates, people. Once she says this, all her walking skills. Is that what it's supposed to say? Once she says this? Once she does this, all of her walking skills go out the window. She tries to run home. Any tips appreciated? So it sounds like you guys might be going through a bit of a fear stage. To give you an idea how we work through that at Puppy Academy is we work a dog under threshold, at threshold, and then eventually above threshold to work them through that. But what do I mean by a threshold? Any of our returning people have probably heard me say that a million times. I am not talking about my doorway over here. I am talking about a mental doorway in my dog's brain. What that threshold basically means is overstimulation is created by noises, by fear, by energy, whatever it is. When a dog is under threshold, that means they're walking calmly, they're focused, glancing up at you and checking in. That's before you see the skateboard or the skates or whatever it is. When a dog hits threshold, that's when they start seeing something and they kind of freeze or look and focus on it. That means that you're about to get a dog over threshold who might freak out and then try to run home. So what I would do in that situation is I'd do counter conditioning, which means that I grab food and I work my dog around these scary things, or at least work them up to the scary thing. So that means that when I see a skateboard 500 feet away, my dog has not reacted to it yet, but I see them kind of about to look at it. The minute my dog sees that skateboard, dog come, good, treat, walk the opposite way. We work them below threshold and we build up a comfort zone on that below threshold. And after about a week of doing this, maybe I can get within 400 feet, then 300, then 200. Your dog may never get over the skateboards and the skates and the bicycles all together, but that will teach you better handling. That will teach you nonverbal cues that your dog will give you. Looking, staring, and then reacting, and then running. You are trying to catch the look, the stare, and then break your dog away from it. If you are dealing with a lot of fear and you feel like you're above your head, you're underwater, and there's not much you can do about it, I do recommend getting a private trainer. I've worked with a lot of clients with this type of fear. People that live by the beach and they see skateboards and bicycles all day long. It might help you guys. I can give you as much advice as possible, but in those situations, it's probably better if you hire a private trainer to help you guys in your home and then work you through situations like that. That can be really challenging though. From Serenity Sweethearts, do y'all have Puppy Academy in other locations or just the one? So this is our only location in Los Angeles. However, we do have our Puppy Academy online school. We have a lot of people kind of jumping into that, especially as people are now starting to go back to work. They have a lot of busy schedules. We built it originally to help with the pandemic. We knew a lot of people were kind of stuck in their homes, and that was our big launch. But now we found that a majority of our people who are going to work, they don't have time to join a training class over the weekend. They don't have time to do one at 5 p.m. at a Petco at the end of the day. So they can log on to our training class anytime throughout the day. It's all pre-recorded videos with one live on Wednesday at 4 p.m. every single week, where people will ask us questions. They'll bring their dog on screen and ask for help, and we'll do some like live training on the spot with the dog on our own, kind of work them through that. So that's a really, really great option for you guys as well.
Do you want to take a break and answer a TikTok question?
Yeah, let me have it.
How do I control my puppy from biting my leg?
So how do I control my puppy from biting my leg? Okay, I love it. All right, my 3-strike rule. So 1, your dog needs to be on a leash. 2, what kind of freedom does your dog have? Are they running around your home? Do we live in a huge home and they have freedom to move anywhere they want? If so, start limiting where they can move. Maybe I don't want to put up 30 baby gates or have 20 playpens lining my house, but just having that leash on your puppy, on your dog, I don't know if it's an older dog or a younger dog. Was there an age in there?
No.
11 week?
That's for the next question.
Oh, sorry, okay. I don't have an age, so if it's an older dog, you can be a little bit more firm with them. If it's a younger puppy, I'm gonna say 4 months or younger, or even like maybe even 4 to 6 months, that means that your puppy probably just has significantly too much freedom to move around. I'll put a leash on them and I can tie that to my belt loop, or create a smaller area with that leash. So when they start moving and jumping on me, going for my guests, going for my kids, nipping at the heels, I can grab the leash, and that's when I do my 3-strike rule. Strike 1 is a firm no, and I'll attempt to grab a toy and do a toy redirect. Honestly, that probably won't work for more of our pushy puppies. What I could also do with that redirect on strike 1 is turn it into a training session. Say no, grab the leash, go grab some food, guide my dog to place, sit, down, stay, come, place, sit, down, stay. I don't want to reward them right away for the jumping or the nipping after a redirect. Otherwise, they might think that if they bite my ankle and then sit, they get food. That is not the case. I want to redirect them and build training mode. Get them into this understanding of when they work, when they come and sit in front of me, that gets food. But when they bite the ankle, all I'm going to do is make them work really, really hard and show them why I don't like my ankle being bit. I digress though. Strike 2. So now, strike 2 is they've still done it. You've tried to do work mode, tried to do training mode, tried a toy. Nothing is working. Their brain is just going bonkers. They're overstimulated. They don't know what to do with themselves. This is where we start working on the issue at its source. This is a body block. This is spatial pressure. So when I have that leash, everything's going to rely on that leash to a certain degree. I'm going to have my leash. My dog is biting. I'll go no. I'll lift up and out. I am not lifting my dog off the ground, just to clarify, but I might be lifting the front 2 paws a couple inches off the ground just to help them settle. This is not done on a flat collar for any young puppies. This is done on a harness or some kind of training tool that gives you leverage over them. For an older dog, I definitely would recommend that you consult with a trainer to get on some kind of training tool, especially if you're still experiencing this. But it's pressure up, out, and it's a firm step in with a body block. A body block is not Muay Thai kicking your dog. It means that you're stepping in firmly with good posture. No. Sit, come, place, down, good. And then trigger that work mode again. When you step in firmly to your dog, guys, you get this 1 split second where they go, and they kind of back off because you're invading their space, kind of like they're doing to you. It's in that moment of the whale eyes and kind of taking a step back that you have an opportunity, a golden opportunity to redirect their focus to something more positive, like place or come or down, or allows you to go get your treat pouch and then do a training session. Those are the moments that you're looking for to help them. But devil's advocate, what if none of this works? It's been 10 minutes and now you're frustrated. This is where I want you to take a deep breath. Because now we're frustrated. And I want this to be very unemotional. I want you to calmly pick up your dog or grab their leash and guide them to their crate, put them in it, close it, lock it, cover it, and walk away. But I know a lot of you are asking yourselves, but Sparky, crate can never be a punishment. Everything I read says crate is not a punishment, and you're right about that. But what makes crate not a punishment? your emotion, the way that you do it. If I'm happy, mad, sad, or glad, no, bad dog. House, crate is house, house is crate, same thing. House, and I put my dog in there and I close it. They go, whoa, that was really scary. And the next time I think about putting them in the crate, maybe they used to walk there on their own, but now they don't want to. It's that negative association, that no, that anger that created the negative association. That's where that deep breath comes in. Take that deep breath, just neutral. Guide them over, pop them in, close it, lock it, cover it, walk away. And now they're saying to themselves, I was biting mom and dad and I know how much they love that, but now I ended up in the crate. Okay, I guess it's nap time. Most of your puppies, younger puppies especially, should be sleeping around 18 to 21 hours a day. As they hit the 6 to 8 month old mark, that's when you're getting maybe about 14 to 16 hours a day. But a puppy that is not well rested is a cranky puppy. I couldn't tell you, I'd say 90% of my owner lessons that I do, my first ones especially, one of my greatest pieces of advice is, how often is your puppy sleeping? Well, they kind of sleep overnight, but we don't have them in the crate. They move around a lot. They're not hitting REM sleep, guys. You have a cranky puppy. If I have any parents out there, cranky baby is the same thing as cranky puppy. A crying baby is a biting puppy. That's how they translate. So to help them sleep, help them relax, you gotta do a little bit more crate work, and you might need to move the crate to a different area, kind of how I mentioned for Matthew earlier on. All the same advice I gave him for that crate schedule, that's probably what you guys need to do a little bit more of. Play around with it. But most young puppies that are biting a lot, they need stronger boundaries, more rules, more training for that mental stimulation, and then probably just a little bit more crate time. Okay, is there another question? Should we do one more?
Sure, it's a two-parter. How to help new puppy, 11 weeks, playing aggressively / bullying older small dog who's 2 years old. The new puppy thinks my small dog's nipping corrections is part of the game.
Ouch. Okay, yeah. Is that the 11-week-old that I was looking at before?
11-week-old, yes.
Okay, so this is an 11-week-old. Does it say what kind of dog it is?
No.
Okay, if you're still listening, please type in what type of dog it is. If you're not still listening and you listen to this later on, we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I'm gonna create a situation. Let's say I have a 11-week-old Bernedoodle puppy. That means this 11-week Bernedoodle puppy is probably already about 15 pounds, and I'm gonna make up another situation of a Chihuahua being the 2-year-old dog.
German short-hair pointer mix.
Oh, that's way worse. Okay, German short-haired pointer mix. So the pointer mix is gonna have crazy high energy, crazy high stimulation. That is a working breed. I have a couple of them here at Puppy Academy, and I have a few of them also in my own business as well. High energy, high drive. So I would say that younger puppy is never gonna get along with the older 2-year-old smaller dog without some kind of boundary that you create. What's gonna happen is the older dog is gonna get pushier and pushier and pushier and more defensive and territorial towards this younger 11-week-old dog, because the 11-week-old isn't respecting his space, that eventually he'll snap and maybe scare your 11-week-old and you'll have an altercation on your hands. The best thing you could do is create space for your 11-week-old from your 2-year-old. Your 11-week-old, your pointer, needs to understand that he doesn't have free access to get to your 2-year-old, because your 2-year-old is always on the defense, which is why you're getting situations where you're probably seeing a lot of frustration from the 11-week-old and the 2-year-old. So, okay, that's too much explaining. Let me just give you some solutions. Put your 11-week-old on a leash. Anytime your 11-week-old is out of the crate, not in a playpen, they should be on a leash. Anytime that they are playing, I don't expect free play between the 11-week-old and the 2-year-old, and I don't expect the 2-year-old to put the 11-week-old in its place, because he's not going to be able to. And the more he tries, the more frustration and the more unfairness it's going to be towards that 2-year-old. So you're trying to help the 11-week-old understand how to disengage. So the reason I put that leash on is every time that 11-week-old goes towards the 2-year-old and I see that big jumping motion kicking in that probably scares the heck out of your 2-year-old, that's when I'm going to grab the leash, come, place, sit, good, body block to keep them on the place. You can see some of our YouTube videos or join our online school. We have some great ideas on how you can help your dog understand that. And you're going to create this space, this boundary from your 11-week-old and your 2-year-old. So your 11-week-old starts looking to you and not looking to the 2-year-old to advocate for its space. That's super important. Both of your dogs need to look to you as the leader. I don't want my 11-week-old puppy looking to my 2-year-old dog as a leader, because then he might even start taking up their habits as well. So on leash, Anytime he's out of the crate, be able to create space, be able to body block between the two dogs and back off your 11-year-old. And if you're struggling with that, you probably need to do a little bit more food work and get more focus from your dog. That might mean skipping a meal and having him work for that second meal of the day around your 2-year-old. So he starts learning how to work around the 2-year-old rather than always trying to jump on him, always trying to control the space. Anything I forgot? What would Bethany say? Bethany would say, leash always, always leash. I don't know, maybe that's what she would say. Is there anything else?
There's more questions.
Let me finish these and we'll go back to it. We have 6 minutes, guys, or that clock's fast. We have 8 minutes. All right. This looks like, it's not a two-parter, but it's 2 questions from the same person. From Claude's, 5.5 month, Wheaton now barks at random noise inside. Fear period, how to calm her. So fear period, maybe, or it could just be that she's finding her voice. So the Wheaton greetin', that's what a lot of my clients will say. The Wheaton greetin' usually is a big bark or it's a jump on the people that are walking by. What I mean by that is Wheaton greetin' is how Wheatons greet people is they're vocal or they're very pushy to jump. So what I would do is if I have a dog barking all the time in the house, you might need a little bit more control over them when they're out of their crate. Again, that might be a leash or even a long leash. And I might practice disengagement routines. So every time my Wheaton barks at someone outside the house, I hear the bark, they're dragging the long leash maybe 20 feet away from you. I pick up the leash, I'll give a firm tug, no, come, have my food toy. I should have like a little training pouch on me whenever my dog's out of the crate, grab a piece of food out, tug, no, come, doesn't disengage from the barking. I'll create pressure, reeling him in like a fish. And the second he looks and then disengages from the bark, looking at the thing pulling at him, which is you, dog, come, yay, sit, good, come, play, sit, good, treat. And now I've also shortened up my leash. The minute he runs off place to go bark again, I don't let him get to it. Come, play, sit, good. I'm working on disengagement because I'm basically trying to teach the Wheaton that we don't want him to bark, or if he does do the bark, it's 1 or 2 barks and then it's done. That's where our disengagement comes in. Correction, pressure, come, place, sit, good. And then you can even do some body blocks. The reason I like place is a target. We're literally teaching a dog to go to a designated area on command and stay there until we release him. Calm on command. That's the greatest technique you teach any dog. So I have a dog barking or jumping on people, I bring them to place and I body block. I have dogs trying to bark at every noise going by, I prevent them from ever getting to the area that they like to bark. Maybe they don't get to go by the front door. Maybe I put up a baby gate separating certain areas, or my dog's on a leash tied to my belt loop. So anytime I hear the noise outside, I don't look at the noise. I hear the noise and I look at my puppy, because that's where your reactivity is going to form. The minute I hear the noise, I look at my puppy, I see the ears point towards the distraction. Dog, come, place, sit, good. You can be preventative with commands rather than reactive with needing a leash and needing to give like a little tug on it. So yeah, that's what I would say. I would say be more preventative over the reactive. 5.5 month old, you're getting to the big stage of adolescence where they're going to start pushing a lot harder. So you want to be on top of this now. Build more food drive, skip a meal, and then have them start working for most of their meals, especially during the times of the day where they hear a lot more people. Maybe 5 to 7 p.m., that's where people are getting home from work. They hear more cars, they hear more car doors, they hear more people walking their dogs outside. That's when I'll start targeting it. Okay. Another one from Claude's. Okay to send a 5.5 month old Wheaton to daycare for 6 hours when we can't work from home. Goes for 3 hours now and loves it. I'm okay with the Wheaton going to daycare. More rare with daycares is finding daycares that do crating or finding daycares that split play. I don't like dogs playing for 6 hours straight. I know a lot of dogs that tear their ACLs. Their bodies aren't meant to play for that long, and most puppies won't self-regulate when they should be taking breaks. And if they do, their break is like 30 seconds to go grab water, and they're right back at it. I look for smaller daycares because smaller daycares tend to regulate them a little bit more, and that's when I'll look for daycares that do crating periodically throughout the day, not as punishment. I know a lot of daycares that we only do the crate when the dogs are bad. So it's a negative association how they use it. No, it's like 2 hours of play, 1.5 hours in the crate, 2 hours of play, and then they go home. That's a really, really great situation. And that's what I look for with any of my daycares that I use. I don't use daycares, but I'm just saying people that do use it, all of my clients that I refer, I have about 4 daycares in the area, and all of them do crate as a mediator to shorten play, create calm, and then they let them out to re-engage with play.
Can you
Possible potty training regression with daycares. So I don't know any daycare that puts dogs on a schedule, meaning that when a dog comes out, they can pee wherever they want. A lot of daycares in our area are enclosed because it gets so hot. So they're not outside peeing on artificial turf. They're inside peeing on artificial turf, which then creates a instinct to want to pee inside at home during play. We still play with their dogs at home. We do fetch, we do tug, maybe they're chasing kids around the house, or you're doing like hide and seek. They might just pop a squat and pee right in the middle of your floor. That could be because of the daycare. Again, that's also why I look for daycares that do crating, because a lot of daycares that do crating, they'll take them out of the crate, go outside for a potty, and then let them inside to do their play. But yeah, if you are experiencing a lot of potty accidents recently after a daycare, that's probably why. You might need to take a break on it, especially if you have a young puppy. 5.5 months old is still pretty young, and they're still discovering boundaries. Yeah, I'd be thinking about that. That's all I got for here. You got anything else?
I do. I got TikTok.
Give me.
Getting a new puppy, Spaniel American Bully Mix. And
that's
tips
fun.
for training. She is 9 weeks old, and when should we start training?
ASAP. The minute your puppy walks in the front door, that's when training begins. Okay, maybe not the second they walk in, but a lot of people, they'll do like a 2-week grace period of letting the puppy come in the house and let them explore their boundaries and do all that. That is still training. How I let a puppy explore the boundaries is I put a leash on their harness and I use some food and then kind of guide them around the house. 9 weeks old is still old enough to sniff and create boundaries. So I let them walk around the house in the areas that I'm going to allow them access to. I've already puppy-proofed all the areas that they shouldn't be in, and I puppy-proof the area that they are going to be in. So I guide them around the house, and I'll do easy commands like our relationship building exercise, which is dog's name, come, good treat. Dog's name, come, good treat. So I let them find a distraction. Dog come, food to the nose, dog come, and then I guide them away from the distraction. When they focus on me, I reward them and I move in the opposite direction. That's one of the easiest ways to build up boundaries inside of a home. Crate training from day one, playpen setup, a young 9-week-old puppy, even the mix that you just mentioned, which is a lot of things, all really, really fun breeds though. I love the Pitty too. We have a Pitty and we love her. She's a really fun, motivated dog to train, lots of drive, lots of work drive. So you'll be doing something from right on the get-go. What else we got? That's it.
And they can join our online school help.
And you guys can join our online school if you ever need any help. And check out our YouTube, like and subscribe. And that's all the time we have today. I know, you like how I threw that in there? I got to say it as much as I can so I remember it on our other videos too. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. 1:30. Finished right on the dot. All right, guys. Have a great one. Take care.